Good morning, mountain bikers. I'm Chris Wessels, and you are watching MTB Trail Review. Today, I'm back at Sweetwater Bike Park. It has been completely redone. All of the riding surfaces are looking beautiful. Before I show you everything that's been done and the process that went into it, I want to give a big thank you to the Bronco Wild Fund, Fox Factory Trail Trust, the San Diego Mountain Bike Association, and the County of San Diego for getting all of this done. Enjoy. You remember the Sweetwater Bike Park. It's been closed for almost a month so that crews could repair all of the damage done to not just the flow trail, but the pump tracks and the jump lines. And as you can see here, the work really needed to be done. So let's take a look at the process and the beautiful finished product. Remember this giant rut coming off the second wall ride? It was treacherous, as was this one in the middle of the trail right as you're coming off of the first wall ride. These ruts, along with many other ruts and holes on the flow trail, got a ton of love. Before the track could be resurfaced, the crews had to do an entire track walk, going down the flow trail, filling in each and every hole and rut manually, carrying a bucket and a putty knife. And if you ever had a moment to walk the track, you would have seen that there were a lot of holes. But before they could get to that back-breaking process, they had to go through this one. They had to tear out all of the growth and weeds that sprouted up from all of the rains we had this past winter. Crews then had to sift through literal tons of dirt in order to get it ready to mix with all of the ingredients required to make soil tack. The soil tack was then mixed, and bucket by bucket, they got it out onto the flow trail, the jump lines, and the pump track. As they got it mixed and dumped onto the trails, crews stood by with brooms in order to spread it across and coat the entire trail. They had to go through this process 3 times on the flow trails. As you can imagine, this was a long, arduous process, but the final product was absolutely worth it. Take a look. What was not that long ago a weed-ridden and pock-marked mess is now a beautiful trail that is ready for all people on all types of bikes to enjoy once again. The ruts are no more. The berms are looking absolutely beautiful, and I am so excited to get down this thing again on my mountain bike, because it's been a long time since I was out here on the mountain bike and excited to ride the flow trail. But the flow trail is not the only thing that got some love. After finishing up the flow trail, the crews set to both the jump line and the pump track. The jump lines had plenty of tiny little craters in them, just like the flow trail, but not as bad as the flow trail. So they got to work patching before they could get to work getting the soil tack ready to pour over the top. While not nearly as bad as the flow trail, doing a walkthrough on both the jump lines and the pump track made me realize just how much they also needed to get some work done. Once the patching process was complete, crews got to work doing the same thing they did on the flow trail, mixing and dumping bucket after bucket after bucket after bucket of the slurry onto both the jump lines and the pump track, then brooming it out to make sure that they covered every square inch of the track in order to get the entire thing resurfaced. The first coat While still tedious work, it's pretty simple. Cover as much area as possible, as quickly as possible, so that you can get the track to dry. But the coats following take a little bit more finesse. The guys in charge of the brooms wanted to be sure that the soil tack did not change the shape of the lip. So they went over each lip very carefully to make sure that it's exactly as it was before they put the soil tack on. And just like the flow trail, they had to let it dry and then go and do it all over again. But now this process is finally over. So you know what that means. It's time to ride. And ride we did. I first hit the flow trail and checked out this beautiful new surface. And wow, what an improvement. All of the craters in the berms are gone. They're once again smooth and ready for anybody on any bike. The treacherous ruts at the bottom of the wall ride are gone. You can hit the wall ride and cross the trail with confidence. After checking out the new flow trail on my mountain bike, I switched to the dirt jumper and started warming up on the small line with local pro and Bronco ambassador Rachel Strait. Just like anybody else, she takes a nice progressive warm-up, so we went from the small line to the middle line, which I was very thankful for because I didn't want to start out hitting the big line. We then gave the newly resurfaced big line a try, and I can definitely confirm that it feels smoother.
Oh, so close.
After spending some time on the jump line, we moved over to check out the newly resurfaced pump track. And the pump track is running beautifully. While it wasn't as damaged as the flow trail, the resurfacing definitely made a big difference. A lot of the little bumps and blemishes that were on the pump track before are now gone, and we're back to riding on a very smooth surface. After a warm-up, Rachel gave me a new challenge to work on. While I've hit both of these individually, I've never tried to hit the step down into the double one after the other.
That is hard, okay.
And now, I have a new goal. Rachel's husband, Kyle Strait, who is also a local pro, came out to check out the new resurfacing, and watching him ride was unbelievable. The Sweetwater Bike Park is once again ready for all people of all ages on all different kinds of bikes to enjoy. As we are looking at all of these before and after aerial shots, I wanted to give one more big thank you to everybody who was involved, from the donations from the Bronco Wild Fund, the donations from the Fox Factory Trail Trust, the San Diego Mountain Bike Association for staying on top of it, and all of the workers and volunteers that made this happen. The park is open and it is riding great. If you have any questions about the park, leave them in the comments and I will do my best to answer. Otherwise, get out there and ride it.